Hey everybody, welcome to the Mark Parham podcast. You can follow me online by going to Rumble and just type in rumble.com/Mark Parham and I should pop up. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, now it's X, at x.com/Mark Parham underscore and I should pop up. So, anyway, I'm looking at the Drudge Report and I know people say, oh, why would you look at the Drudge Report? But I was looking at the Drudge Report today and they're talking about a hat that's gone viral. I think it says Canada is not for sale or Canada isn't for sale or something like that. And my whole thing about it is sort of a response to some of the stuff Donald Trump was saying about Canada and how Canada should be. I think he said Canada should be the 51st state or something like that. And my whole thing on this whole Donald Trump and Canada thing, because I've been looking at some of the news in Canada, and some of these leaders are taking this as like some, they're all serious and oh my God, Donald Trump, what's going to happen and all this other stuff, and they don't realize that Donald Trump is trying to wake up people in Canada. He's trying to tell the leaders in Canada, secure your border and worry about illegal immigration and things like that. And it's so funny because it's almost like everybody's running around all worried and what's Donald Trump going to say and what's he going to do and what policies is he going to enact when it comes to Canada. And the leaders of Canada, instead of worrying about how Donald Trump is going to react to everything, maybe sit back and have a conversation and just have a conversation with Donald Trump. And some people in Canada, some of the leaders have reached out to Donald Trump and just, listen to some of the things he has to say. He's talking about common sense things. He's talking about immigration. He's talking about, stopping illegal drugs and stuff from coming across the border. And I don't see why, everything's, why it's such an uproar in Canada that he's, talking about, border security. Yeah, it's just amazing to me how all these liberals are acting like Donald Trump is some boogeyman in Canada, and all he's trying to do is wake you guys up. And yes, he's he says things in a certain way. He doesn't speak like a typical politician. That's why so many people in America voted for Donald Trump. We like somebody that's not going to speak like a normal politician and beat around the bush. Like he's actually trying to ring the alarm and say just as we're securing the border, the southern border, we also have to focus on the border in Canada because there's people that might be coming across or bringing illegal things across the border to America that we don't want. And there's people that are coming across that we don't want to be in America. And, it's just crazy. This has become like a big media back and forth. And, some of these people in Canada are acting like, Donald Trump's going to, almost like he's going to invade Canada or something. Like I don't know. It's strange to me, and I don't. Donald Trump. People have to realize he says some things where he's trying to keep people off balance. Sometimes he'll throw something out there, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he means what he's saying, but it's, to wake people up. And I don't see how this is a big controversy. I mean, people have made merchandise and every time I go on the news, look at the news in Canada, it's like, this whole thing of Donald Trump's this evil boogeyman. And I think that, the Canada needs some new leadership at the end of the day. I think that Canada needs some conservative leadership that's going to just tell it how it is because Justin Trudeau has ruined Canada. I mean, if you look at some of his policies on, the climate and energy and the environment, some of his policies when it comes to business and the economy and all this other stuff, and he's just doing a horrible job. And a lot of these policies people have been complaining about, but for some reason he thinks he knows better than the normal people that have to live under his policies in Canada. I think he's I think the term is what is it, tone deaf, that people use on folks that don't listen and pay attention. I think he's one of those type of people and he's has a huge ego. I mean, people talk about Donald Trump, but I think Justin Trudeau, I think his ego is bigger than Donald Trump's because it's almost like he doesn't listen to what normal people are saying or doing. I mean, anybody would sit back and say, okay, well, all of these folks are complaining about my policies when it comes to the environment or energy. Let me listen to, the citizens in my country. And Justin Trudeau doesn't do that. And Canada is such a beautiful place. I mean, it's a place that I would love to visit one day. I mean, the cities look, amazing. Everybody says Canada has very friendly people, but you just have bad leadership. And there's folks in Canada where they're complaining about, housing, and they're complaining about immigration, and Justin Trudeau will not listen. And the folks, around him won't listen. And it's just amazing to me. It's just like if he, and it's one of those things where people in Canada are going to, I think you're going to see a huge change in Canada where people, start voting for people that are more conservative or more, sort of lean to the right. It's happening all over the world. I mean, look what happened with this election in America. You see what's going on in Europe. I think you're going to see a shift to the right when it comes to leadership for all of these different countries and areas in the world, because people are just fed up. I mean, you can't have wide open borders and, to act like, oh, well, we respect everybody and equality. And it's not even about that. It's about safety. It's about national security. Again, you can't, it's like leaving your door wide open. I don't care if you live in the richest community in Canada. Leaving your door wide open, somebody is going to take advantage of it and walk right through. So, not to wake up and say, wait a minute, the border is a huge issue. And the crazy thing about it is, for some of the leaders in Canada, it's almost like they have no concern about closing the border. Like they almost look at it as, oh, that's not an issue. And again, wait until, the wrong person comes across. Then that's when all the leaders want to react and say, oh my God, we've been doing this and we should have tried this and that. A good leader's not going to wait for something to happen. Same thing with a good president. A good president, politician, I don't care if it's somebody in a small business. They're not going to wait till something bad happens for things to be done. And that's where that's how some of the leaders in Canada are, how they act when it comes to certain issues. It's like once something gets to a boiling point, oh, well, let me do something about it. I mean, you have to see, years in advance. Like, okay, we need to do something about housing. Housing is very, out of reach for folks who live in Toronto and live in some of these cities. Oh, let's close our border because, the wrong person might come through. Oh, well, you know what? Some of these energy policies people are complaining about. Like, it's amazing to me that folks, Justin Trudeau and people around him, just won't listen to what people are saying. And so again, you're going to have a shift where people are going to lean to the right in Canada. I don't care how liberal somebody is. When you're affecting people's money and, you're affecting their life and their job, things change. Look at how that happened in America. People thought, oh, well, you know what? We're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's going to win in 2016. And you see what happened. I mean, people said, oh, Donald Trump doesn't have a chance. There's no way somebody's going to elect this real estate developer who's been on, The Apprentice and who's on, sitcoms and making guest appearances in movies and stuff. People said, no way, no people are going to elect a guy like that. And look what happened. He ended up winning against Hillary Clinton in 2016. And so, the people in Canada need to wake up. They need to realize that Donald Trump is trying to, wake people up in Canada and say, you guys don't have to be living like this. You don't have to have leaders that are just horrible. And I think some people are taking everything he's saying as an insult. Like when he mentions certain things, he's saying, you know what? It would be helpful if we had a partner with Canada or a person on the inside that could actually, make things happen. And, it would just make the relationship between Canada and the United States better. But I mean, they don't see it that way. They see it as, oh, well, he's making fun of the country and all this other stuff. So, it's, that's just my opinion on that topic. And then also, I'm looking at some of the energy policies in Canada. I mean, Canada needs somebody that's going to come in there and just say, you know what? we're going to stand up for the folks that are in the industry, sector. I mean, not in my set. I said industry, in the energy sector. Like they're going to need people to stand up for folks that work in the oil fields. Anybody in dealing with energy in Canada. They're going to need a person, the president, prime minister, whatever, that's going to say, you know what, we're going to stand up for you. We want to protect your job. And if you notice, they have people that are against drilling. There are some of these folks that are so, for the environment. Nothing wrong about, saying, we want safety for the environment, things like that. But there's some folks that don't want anybody to look for oil. They don't want anybody to, create a job for folks that, need to be working. It's ridiculous. And so, again, I know I'm rambling, but I think that a lot of Americans respect Canada. They respect, the folks in Canada, but it's just the leadership in Canada is all over the place. And I think that Canada is going to start saying, you know what, we're tired. And you're going to see a huge change in Canada, and it's going to actually be good. I think the new change and the new things that are going to be happening in Canada with the leadership and, certain people are resigning, I think it's a good thing because now people have reached a point where they can't take it anymore. I mean, I'm looking at the housing prices and stuff like that, and it's just for like a small apartment is through the roof. And you have folks that, don't make that much. I mean, not everybody's a Hollywood actor or an NBA player. And so again, Canada needs a new prime minister. They need somebody that knows what they're doing. They need somebody that's going to be tough on crime. They need somebody that's going to be tough on immigration. Somebody that's going to fix the situation with housing. I mean, there's so many different things to fix in Canada, just like America. And so, again, I don't think Donald Trump's insulting the people in Canada, but he's trying to send a message like, wake up, guys. You don't have to be living like this. Things can be better, but you gotta put the right people in place. So again, let me know how you feel in the comment section. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then also, like I said, again, follow me on Rumble, just rumble.com/Mark Parham. And then on X, you can follow me, x.com/Mark Parham _ and I should pop up. But let me know how you feel. I know I was rambling a little bit, but Justin Trudeau and leaders, prime ministers like Justin Trudeau are basically, they don't need to be in power, and they make it bad for everybody in Canada. So let me know how you feel in the comment section. Thank you.